Okay, so go ahead.
Before, once he had a pulpit, and we had women coming into the room and sharing and listening to him teach and being involved with us for a period of time. He had more friends than he knew what to do with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he had women coming to him for this, that, and the other thing, which they could have talked to me about. Okay?
Yeah.
So, what the scripture says is such wisdom, because if he was in that position, and I know that there are men out there that are pastors that are not married, you know, it's a very hard place to be, because it's so easy for a man to fall into fornication in that kind of situation. It's so easy, because a woman can come to him and start, you know, pleading with him for sympathy about whatever she's going through.
And when a godly woman sees that a leader is married, they tend to back off. If they're godly, I mean, if they're street people, it doesn't matter.
Right.
See, I have a calling to go into the ministry, and I'm not married, and I want to put Yeshua first.
That's not a problem. You're talking about being a congregational leader or just an evangelist?
A pastor.
Okay, that's a different issue. Then I would suggest you get under the covering of some kind of patriarchal leadership. In other words, you could, if you're not married, you could still put yourself under patriarchal leadership. Yahweh will honor patriarchal leadership, even if you don't have a husband. You're not out there alone by yourself. Okay. So let me just finish a couple of things here. So, in the Greek, the word is mia, and not the absolute singular that Jackson mentioned. So the word mia can mean one of many or more than one. Mia is the Greek cognate for the Aramaic word kad, a compound unity, like in the Shema, Hear, O Israel. We just said that. If 1 Timothy 3:2 and Titus 1:9 allegedly refer to a prohibition against plural marriage, then Paul would have used the word yachid in the Hebrew, and what was that, hen, you said? Yeah. Hen in the Greek. The fact that Rav Shaul used plural words indicates that Israelite leaders must be like Moses and Yeshua. They must minister with at least one wife. Now, doesn't that make a lot more? Now, let's play devil's advocate. One guy said to me, well, I'm not going to be in this congregation if you keep playing devil's advocate. I said, all right, chill out. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that I'm wrong, and all these scriptures the last 2 days are wrong. That Paul is saying that if you're going to be a pastor or a congregational leader, you can't have more than one holy, set-apart wife. You got a problem. Then what I would do is this. I would get a pair of scissors that work. I mean, you don't want to use something that's dull. Make sure they work. And go from Ephesians, Philippians, and cut out all the Pauline epistles. One by one, page by page. You know why? Because as a Jewish rabbi, he knew he had no authority to contradict the Torah. He knew he couldn't be taken seriously if he contradicted the Torah. So then, since Paul could never contradict the Torah, our understanding has been polluted by a monogamous culture, a state-mandated monogamy-only culture. Again, let me say that. Paul could never contradict all the other scriptures. Yeshua has how many houses?
2.
How many brides?
2.
Moses had how many? Zipporah, plus the black Ethiopian woman. 2. They reacted the same way some people today react. They go crazy. Pervert. Maniac. Sex maniac. No. The maniacs are the ones who abuse women, and the women who allow these men to abuse them without a commitment and without a lifetime covenant. Those are the maniacs, the sex maniacs. There's a right way to do things, and there's a wrong way. So that's the answer to 1 Timothy chapter 3 and Titus 1:9. Friends, we've been taught wrong. I don't want to really go into much of else because everything, our foundation is based on Scripture. But let me just tell you what the church fathers said about the Nazarene followers of Yeshua. Ready? Here's what Justin Martyr said. Many Christians, Jewish Christians, have 5 wives. Well, it seems to me if they were Jewish Christians, why didn't Yeshua tell them, bad boy, I've come to clean up your sex act, and I've come to get rid of them and be a good witness. Right? Yeshua could have done that. Yes? Yes?
Yeah.
And yet the enemies of the people of Israel, in a great sense, anything Jewish that you want anything to do with, in the dialogue with Trypho, chapter 134, said many of Yeshua's followers had 4 or 5 wives. John Calvin said that plural marriage was exceedingly prevalent among New Testament Jewish believers. Josephus, in Antiquities, chapter 17, 1 and 2, says this. It is the ancient practice among us to this day to have many wives at the same time. So it all comes down to whose report will you believe. Your emotions, your feelings, the way we've been raised, or do we want the whole truth and nothing but the truth? If we do, then we admire those heroes of faith, monogamous and plural. We admire them. If we want our opinion to rule and reign, then we will wrestle with Yahweh. And when we do wrestle with Him, and if you do wrestle with Him sincerely and openly, eventually He will misplace your hip. And you will need hip replacement surgery. Now, I'm not talking about in the physical, I'm talking about in the spiritual. And I've had 2, and they're no fun. Questions?
I forget what my question.
I did too.
Consummate. What is
Shame on
consummate?
me.
Consummate is having sex. The definition of consummate was your question, it's having sex.
Oh, what does consummate mean?
Yes, having sex.
Having intercourse.
Thank you, Val. I'm in no trouble as it is. Having intercourse.
So going back to the question.
Which was Bill Clinton. See, Bill Clinton was a smart guy.
He did. He did not have sex with that woman.
He knew what could keep him out of jail. So
He read your book.
He did not have sex with that woman. Biblically, he did not have sex with that woman. Smart dude. It's funny how people use Torah when they want to. Any other questions?
That's all right. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, let's see. If I go with Sherry and we have intercourse, this is hypothetical.
Thank you.
As Torah, Talmudim, does that mean that we are married?
100%.
That's what we want to try to get out of you last night.
If the 2 of you follow through in a lifetime of fidelity and commitment, you're married.
What if we don't?
If you split and go your way, it becomes sin.
Right.
It's what you do with Yahweh is looking for fidelity and faithfulness. He realizes we have sexual needs. He made us. He wants us to pursue those needs in the spirit. Now remember the sin of Gnosticism. We talked about this a little bit in the past. What is the heresy of Gnosticism? Yeshua couldn't have come in the flesh, right? Why? Everything in the flesh is wicked, evil. Only things in the spirit, non-material world are blessed. Therefore, how can Yahweh send His Son in the flesh when flesh is evil? That is Gnosticism. That is the same mind of the Gentile. The Gentile is sex is for procreation and not for pleasure. Otherwise, it's bad, it's evil. So therefore, if sex is evil with one's partner, with 3 wives, it's 3 times as evil. So we're either going to think as a Hebrew or as a Christian. How are we going to think?
But didn't the cross forgive the sin? The cross, when He shed Himself on the cross.
Yes, yes.
That's for forgiveness of all sin.
All sin.
So,
But sex is not sin.
outside of marriage?
Sex outside of marriage can be sin, like Jackson just said, if the couple does not follow through with a lifetime commitment.
Can you give?
If they do follow through, it is not sin. The sin is reversed.
You got a double definition of what married is. You're thinking of going down to the justice of the peace or going to the church wedding and getting a state license. That's not what we're talking about.
What I'm saying is,
Right.
when a man and a woman get together outside of marriage and live together and have children, does God